to all. My name is Daniel. To my left, we have Brother Mikha'EL. To my right, we have Brother Thin, Brother Torrance, and Brother Tanzel. We are all members here at the Israel of God in Riverdale, Illinois. And our purpose today is to correct, according to the Bible, false doctrine that has been plaguing our communities. We are not here to convert, but rather plant a seed and allow the Lord to provide the increase. We are here to make you aware of the fables and the fallacies that these radical Israelite groups. We are allowing our members in the audience here who have been affected by these false teachings to ask questions and gain clarification through the uncut word of God. Without further ado.
So we'll have the first question. Whoever want to ask a question, go ahead first.
I have
Brother, go ahead.
I have a question. The Father Kingdom and the Son Kingdom, how many are there?
Father Kingdom and Son Kingdom, how many are there? Well, let's go see what the Bible says. Let's go to Revelations, the 20th, because this is some things that they don't teach you, and a lot of people don't know, not even in your Sunday churches. There's two kingdoms that the Bible speak about. Revelation 20, let's pick up at the first, and we're going to show you the difference between these two kingdoms. Revelations 20, pick it up at verse 4. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them.
Now it was thrones, and judgment was given to these people. Go ahead and read.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God.
Now we see that it was judgment given to these people, so everybody don't stand in judgment. Judgment is going to be given to certain people. And then you're going to have people that stand in the line that's be judged. Go ahead and read.
And which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their forehead or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
Now we got 1,000 years with somebody that's living and reigning with Christ. That's the first thing you got to understand. So in this 1,000 years, whose kingdom is this? Is this the Father's kingdom or the Son's kingdom? Let's go clarify. Let's go to Ezekiel 40. Let's see the kingdom. Let's see how his kingdom is built. We're going to show you a distinction in these kingdoms. And this is even your average person that's been in church all their life do not understand. And they didn't know about. And we're going to reveal this to you. Ezekiel 40, pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
In the 25th year of our captivity, in the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after that, the city was smitten. In the selfsame day, the hand of the Lord was upon me.
Now, I was just showing you the situation of Israel, and go ahead and read.
And brought me thither. In the vision of God brought he me into the land of Israel, and set me upon a very high mountain, by which was at the frame of the city on the south.
Now, the Lord took Ezekiel and brought him up on a very high mountain, and he showed him this vision of the future. Go ahead and read.
And he brought me thither, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of brass, with a line of flax in his hand, and a measuring reed, and he stood in the gate. And the man said unto me, Son of man, behold with thine eyes, and hear with thine ears.
Go ahead.
And set thy heart upon all that I shall show thee.
Set your heart and look at what I'm about to show you of this city that I'm about to show you. Go ahead. Or this temple, or this building. Because he got a measuring reed, and he's going to show you something about this. Go ahead and read.
For to the intent that I might show them unto thee, art thou brought thither, declare all that thou seest to the house of Israel.
Write about all that you see to the house of Israel. So Israel didn't know about this because it was a vision in the future. Go ahead and read.
And behold, a wall on the outside of the house round about, and in the man's hand a measuring reed of 6 cubits long.
You had a wall round about. Go ahead.
And a hand breadth. So he measured the breadth of the building, 1 reed, and the height 1 reed.
It was a building. It was 1 reed high, 1 reed in width, and in depth. Go ahead and read. It was at the 5th verse.
Yes, sir.
Skip down to 37. Go ahead, because you can read a lot of this on your own. We just sticking and moving. Just showing you the two kingdoms. Skip down to verse 37 and continue.
And the posts thereof were forward, the upper court, and the palm trees were upon the posts thereof.
They had palm trees and it had a court in it. Go ahead.
And on that side, and the goings up to it had 8 steps.
They had 8 steps going up to this building. Go ahead.
And the chambers and the entries thereof were by the posts of the gates, where they washed the burnt offering.
And they had burnt offerings. That means people were sinning, so you got to have burnt offerings to offer up. So they had a temple where they burnt offerings in for the sins of the people. Keep that in mind. This is what's in this temple during this 1,000 years of this vision that the Lord is showing Ezekiel in the future. Go ahead and read.
And in the porch of the gates were 2 tables on the side, and the 2 tables on that side, to slay thereon the burnt offering and the sin offering.
Now they had to burn the burnt offerings and the sin offerings in this place. Go to Ezekiel 41 and pick it up at verse 1. You can read the rest on your own. I'm just showing you this kingdom. Go ahead and read.
Afterward, He brought me to the temple and measured the pots, 6 cubits broad on one side and 6 cubits broad on the other side, which was the breadth of the tabernacle.
It had a temple also in this building. So he shows you the port, the outside, he measures the breadth, and he's showing you the little intricacies that go on inside of this building. But it also has a temple. Keep that in mind. Okay? Go ahead to verse 2.
And the breadth of the door was 10 cubits. And the side of the door were 5 cubits on one side and 5 cubits on the other side.
Yep.
And he measured the length thereof 40 cubits and the breadth 20 cubits.
They had regular doors. Pay attention to that. It just had regular doors on it because everything detailed, because we're going to show you the difference between these two kingdoms, between the Father's kingdom and the Son kingdom. The 1,000 years is the Son kingdom. We're going to show you how his building looked. Go, skip down to verse, was that the end of 2?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Skip down to verse 17. Go ahead.
So that above the door, even unto the inner house, and without and by all the walls round about within and without by measure.
Go ahead.
And it was made with cherubims and palm trees, so that the palm trees was between the cherubim and a cherubim, and every cherub had 2 faces.
I just had palm trees and cherubims painted on the walls and all that. Keep that in mind. This is within this temple. Go ahead and read.
So that the face of a man was toward the palm tree on the one side, and the face of the young lion toward the palm tree on the other side.
Go ahead.
It was made throughout all the house round about.
Go ahead.
From the ground unto above the door were cherubims and palm trees made, and on the walls of the temple.
Now you have palm trees and angels in this temple. Looked pretty, beautified, right? I'm just showing you little details. Skip down to verse 24 and keep reading.
And the doors had 2 leaves apiece.
Now on this doors, the regular wood doors had leaves to open up the doors. Go ahead.
2 turning leaves.
Go ahead.
2 leaves for the one door and 2 leaves for the other door.
After they opened it up with, go ahead and read.
And there were made on them and the doors of and on the doors of the temple cherubims and palm trees,
go ahead,
like as were made upon the walls. And there were thick planks upon the face of the porch without.
Go ahead.
And there were narrow windows and palm trees on the one
narrow
side.
Windows and palm trees are looking real pretty. Go ahead and read.
And on the other side, and on the side of the porch, and upon the side chambers of the house, and the thick planks.
So I'm painting you this picture of how this building looked. Skip down to Ezekiel 43rd chapter, and we're going to continue this temple and this building, and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
After he brought me to the gates, even the gates that looked towards the east.
Go ahead.
And behold, the glory of the God of Israel came from the way of the east.
Now the God of Israel, that's the Son. He's called the God of Israel. That's the Son. He's inside this temple. Go ahead and read.
And his voice was like a noise of many waters. And the earth shined with his glory.
Earth shined with his glory. Hey, this is God in his power. He on the earth. This is a vision in the future. Go ahead and read.
And it was according to the appearance of the vision which I saw.
And it's the vision which he saw. So Israel didn't see this vision, only Ezekiel. Read.
Even according to the vision that I saw when I came to destroy the city.
Because Jerusalem got sacked and destroyed. Go ahead and read.
And the visions were like the vision that I saw by the
So
river
it wasn't
Chebar.
talking about that temple that they had at the time of Ezekiel, because that got destroyed. This building is in the future.
Yes, sir.
Beyond us. Go ahead and read.
And I fell upon my face, and the glory of the Lord came into the house by the way of the gate.
Go ahead.
Whose prospect is towards the east.
Now he went in this gate. Go ahead.
So the Spirit took me up and brought me into the inner court.
Now the Spirit brought him in the inner court to show him. Go ahead.
And behold, the glory of the Lord filled the house.
Go ahead.
And I heard him speaking unto me out of the house, and the man stood by me. And he said unto me, Son of man, the place of my throne and the place of the soles of my feet, where I would dwell in the midst of the children of Israel forever.
So we
and
know
my holy name.
that this is future, because he's saying the place of my soul and my feet, hey, and where I shall dwell amongst the children of Israel forever. The Lord is not here, and he ain't dwelt amongst us forever yet. So we know this is future tense of this vision he's showing Ezekiel. But this is a city of God. Go ahead and read.
Shall the house of Israel no more defile?
They ain't going to defile this house. Go ahead.
Neither they nor their kings by their whoredom, nor by their carcasses of their kings in their high places.
Now I want y'all to keep that. You see that this is future. It ain't happened yet. It ain't happened nowhere in time yet. This is future. Yes, but this is going on during 1,000 years. Let's keep reading. I'm going to show you what's going to happen in this city that's set up in this kingdom of the sons. Let's keep reading. Let's go to Ezekiel 44. Go right on over to 44. Y'all can read the rest on your own. We just sticking and moving. Ezekiel 44, pick it up at verse 1. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
Then he brought me back the way of the gate of the outward sanctuary was looking toward the east, and it was shut.
Now this gate was shut that looking toward the east. Why was it shut? Go ahead and read.
Then said the Lord unto me, this gate shall be shut, it shall not be opened, and no man shall enter in by it, because
go ahead.
Because the Lord, the God of Israel, have entered in by it. Therefore it shall be shut.
Now this gate gonna be shut. He don't want no flesh and blood man to walk in after him. You follow me? So it's spirit beings and flesh and blood beings in this temple. Keep that in mind, because I'm showing you the difference between these two type of temples. I mean, these kingdoms and these cities. Go ahead and read.
15.
Go ahead. Skip down to 15. Go ahead.
But the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, they kept the charge of my sanctuary when the children of Israel went astray from me.
Go ahead.
They shall come near to me to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith the Lord God.
In this kingdom of the Son, we going to have flesh and blood, so people going to still be sinning. So you need Aaron and his sons to be raised back up so they can make sacrifices for this flesh and blood being during this 1,000 years. So we see that it got to have priests to be raised back up. Is that, we show, and I'm showing you this for a reason, because when I compare the other city of God, of the Father's kingdom, we're going to see a totally different type of setup. Skip down to 23 and read. Go ahead and read.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane.
So you got to teach during this 1,000 years. You got to teach people what's holy and what's profane. Go ahead.
And shall cause them to discern between the unclean and clean.
And you got to still discern between unclean and clean during this 1,000 years, during the Son's kingdom. Go ahead and read.
And in controversy they shall stand in judgment. And they shall judge it according to my judgments. And they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all my assemblies.
Go ahead.
And they shall hallow my Sabbath.
And they're going to hallow the Sabbaths again. This ain't happened. But this is going to happen in the future. Keep reading.
And there shall come at no dead person to defile themselves, but for fathers, or for mothers, or for sons, or for daughters, for brothers, or for sisters that had no husbands, they may defile themselves.
See, now you got people that's also, they're going to go forth. You're going to have some people that's kind of defiled, that's going to be able to walk in this temple. But I'm going to show you the difference. In the Son's kingdom, you got people that's flesh and blood that can defile a temple. But not in the Father's kingdom. Not in that kingdom. You see what I'm saying? Was that the end of 27?
That was end of 25.
That was end of 25. Go all the way to 27.
And after he is cleansed, they shall reckon unto him 7 days. And in the day that he goeth unto the sanctuary, unto the inner court, to minister in the sanctuary, he shall offer his sin offering, saith the Lord.
So we got defiled people coming in. We got people that need cleaned up. We got sacrifices going on. We got a lot of things going on in this temple of God in the future, right?
Yes, sir.
We see what that's going on, right? But its righteousness also being displayed too. We see that, right? Okay, let's go to Ezekiel 47. This is something else that's happening in the Father's kingdom. I mean, in the Son's kingdom, not the Father's yet, in the Son's kingdom. Ezekiel 47, and pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
After he brought me again into the door of the house, and behold, waters issue out from under the threshold of the house eastward.
Now you got waters issuing out eastward. And what is these waters doing? Go ahead and read.
For the forefront of the house stood towards the east, and the water came down from the right side of the house at the south side of the altar. Then brought he me out of the way of the gate northward, and led me about the way without unto the utter gate by the way that looked eastward. And behold, there ran out waters on the right side.
Waters running out on the right side. Go ahead. We want to see what these waters are about. Speed it up a little bit. Go ahead.
And with a man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The waters were to the ankles.
He went through the waters up to the ankles. Go ahead.
Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through the waters were to the knees.
Go ahead.
Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through the waters were to the loins.
It's to the loins now. Go ahead.
After he measured 1,000, it was a river that I could not pass
over. Up to a river. I can't swim and go in. Skip down to verse 8. What is these waters for? Go ahead and read.
Then said he unto me, these waters issue out towards the east country, and go down into the desert, and go into the sea, which being brought forth unto the sea, the waters shall be healed.
Now these waters that's issued from the Son's kingdom, out from the south side of the altar, on the right side, is going down into the sea, and it's healing the waters that have never happened nowhere in history. Wild waters got to be healed. In the Son's kingdom, his kingdom is to clean up the earth, get everything in order. That's his kingdom.
Yes, sir.
during 1,000 years. Read. Was that it?
Yeah, verse 12.
You finish that up?
Yeah, that was 9.
You finished it up to 9?
Verse 9 right here. And it shall come to pass that everything that liveth which move, whether so the rivers shall come, shall live, and there shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come thither.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and read.
For there shall be healed, and everything shall live.
Skip down to verse 12.
And by the river upon the banks thereof, on this side and on that side.
Now on this side and that side of the river is going to be what? Read.
Shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaves shall not fade.
Go ahead.
Shall the fruit thereof be consumed.
Read.
It shall bring forth new fruit according to this.
And you got trees that bring forth new fruits according to its month. That have never happened. Fruits only give according to their season. After the season is over, it don't keep giving you fruit each month after month after month, according to 12 months. So we know this is something new that's happening on the earth. Go ahead and read.
Because their waters they issue out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat.
The fruit you eat for meat, go ahead.
And the leaves thereof for medicine.
You ain't never seen a tree where you can eat the leaf and it instantly heals you. Because the Lord is cleaning up the earth and healing everybody from sicknesses and diseases. That's the Son's kingdom. Are you finished with that, brother?
Yes, sir.
Go to Haggai 2. Haggai 2. Haggai 2 and pick it up at verse 2. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
Now, speak now to Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah.
Now, Zerubbabel is dead. But we know that when you read about this, Zerubbabel built one of the temples for the Lord during the times of Ezra and Nehemiah. Go ahead and read.
And to Joshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, who was left among you that saw this house in her first glory?
Who among you seen the house in its first glory? Because that house got destroyed. Who seen that house? Go ahead and read all the way to 4.
And how do ye see it now?
How you going to see it now? Go ahead.
Is it not in your eyes in the comparison of it as nothing? Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith the Lord, and be strong, O Joshua, son of Josedek, the high priest, and be strong, all ye people of the land, saith the Lord, and work. For I am with you, saith the Lord of hosts.
That's the end of 4?
That's the end of 4.
Now the Lord, I just wanted you to show you who built this house, who built this temple. Now Zerubbabel is dead, but he is going to be the one to lay the foundation of this house during this great city of the Son during 1,000 years. Let's keep it. Let's go to Zechariah 4. Let's show you that he's going to do this. Zechariah 4 and pick it up at verse 6. Zechariah 4 and 6. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying.
This is the word of the Lord to Zerubbabel, saying. Now, Zerubbabel is dead. So we speak in future. Go ahead and read.
Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel thou shalt become a plain.
Go ahead.
And he shall bring forth the headstone thereof with shouting, crying, grace, grace unto it.
What is Zerubbabel going to bring forth the headstone and do? Go ahead and read.
Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying.
What did it say to Zechariah? Go ahead.
The hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house.
Now the hands of Zerubbabel laid the foundation of that one of the old temples after Solomon's temple was destroyed. Zerubbabel and them built another temple, but that temple was destroyed. But he gonna raise up Zerubbabel to build another temple for the future, for the Son. Go ahead and read.
His hands shall also finish.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto you. For who have despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice, and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those 7.
See, Zerubbabel got those 7. Go ahead, those 7. What else is there 7 around?
They are the eyes of the Lord, which
now
run
the
to and
eyes
fro.
of the Lord are around you that run to and fro on the earth. The eyes of the Lord are angels that run to and fro on the earth. They never die. So if Zerubbabel is with these guys, this got to be future. Because he got 7 angels around him. When Zerubbabel was living, he had no 7 angels around him. He had working men, men that build buildings around him. But he ain't had no angels around him, so we speak in future. But Zerubbabel going to be raised back up with angels around him, and they going to be building this temple for God. Did you finish that 10?
Yes, sir.
Go to Revelations 20. Let's check out the Father's kingdom. Revelations 20. Go ahead. Revelations 20, pick it up at verse 12. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God.
Why?
And the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the book according to their works.
Go ahead.
And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and the deaf and hell were delivered and death and hell would deliver up the dead which were in them.
Go ahead.
And they were judged every man according to their works.
They was judged every man according to their works. Go ahead.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death.
Now death and hell was cast into the lake of fire. See, the people that came up in the first resurrection during 1,000 years, they didn't have to stand in judgment. Judgment was given to them. Now the people that comes up in the second resurrection after the 1,000 years, they got to be judged. Keep reading. Did you finish it?
15. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
Whoever wasn't found written in the book of life, they go where?
Cast into the lake of fire.
They was cast into the lake of fire. I showed you this just to bring in the Father's kingdom. So you had this little point where everybody who going into the fire is in the fire. Death and hell went into the fire. Ain't no more death no more. Whoever's in the fire is in the fire. Whoever's got to get in the kingdom is going to get in the kingdom. Yes. Now let's bring in this kingdom. Revelation 21, pick it up for verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth.
Go ahead. Why?
For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. And there was no more sea.
Ain't no sea. And the first heaven and the first earth was passed away. It got cleaned up. And ain't no you don't know that earth no more. Or that heaven no more. The heavens rolled back like a scroll. Stars fell. Sun and the moon had something done to them. Go ahead and read.
And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God.
He looking up so he see it coming down. Read.
Out of heaven prepared as a bride adorned
that
for
city
her husband.
That we just read about of the sun, it didn't come down. It was built from the earth up. It was built from the ground up. This is coming from the heaven down. Two different distinctions. Read.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacles of God is with men.
Yes, sir.
And he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God.
And they shall be their God. Read.
And God shall wipe away all tears
Go
from
ahead.
their eyes. And there shall be no more death.
See, ain't no more death, ain't no more sorrow, so you ain't got no polluting people around. You ain't got to worry about nobody sacrificing for these cats because they're not doing no wrong. Go ahead and read.
Neither sorrows nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
The former things passed away. Skip down to verse 10 and go ahead.
And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God.
Go ahead.
Having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone,
Speed it
clear
up.
as crystal.
This is like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. It got a totally different distinction. Go ahead and read. Skip down to 14 and read.
And the wall of the city had 12 foundations.
It had 12 foundations. Go ahead.
And the names of the 12 apostles of the
It
land.
had the 12 apostles of the land. Skip down to 18.
And the building of the wall of it was a jasper.
It was of jasper. Go ahead.
And the city was pure gold.
It was pure gold. Not
like
the
a
other
clear
city.
glass.
Not the other city. It wasn't written like that. No, the son's city wasn't this perfect.
All right.
Would you finish that?
It
wasn't built so magnificent. Where we at?
That was the end of 17.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
18. And the foundation of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation of jasper.
Go ahead.
Second sapphire. The third callus stone. And fourth an emerald. The fifth sardonyx.
Skip down to 21. And all these blessings. Skip down to 21. Go ahead.
And the 12 gates were 12
It was
pearls.
12 gates. The other one didn't have 12 gates. Go ahead.
Every several gate was one pearl, and the streets of the city was pure gold.
Go ahead.
As it was transparent glass.
Go ahead.
And I saw no temple therein.
Wasn't no temple in this building. No temple. Right. The other one had a temple. Ain't no sacrificing going on in this temple, in this building. Are you finished with that?
For the Lord God Almighty and
Skip
the
down
Lamb
to verse
are the
27.
temple of it. And there shall in no wise enter into anything that defileth.
Can't defile coming in this temple. Can't make no sacrifices. If you dirty, ain't no sacrifices going on. You got to be perfect. Go ahead and read.
Neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life.
So you got to be written in the Lamb's book of life to get this. So does that answer your question? Two different temples. So who next?
Yes, sir. My question is, there's a chart commonly shown that identifies the 12 tribes of Israel.
Chart?
Yeah, the chart. So simply put, can we confidently say that ethnic groups like the Mexicans, Haitians, people of Panama are Israel?
If you're talking about the Afro ones, meaning the ones that got off the slave ships, yeah. But the ones you see on that bogus chart, no. We're going to let the book explain it. Brother, would you pick it up at Isaiah, the 11th chapter?
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea.
Now, according to them, when you look at the 12 tribe chart, it would make you to believe that all the Israelites was cast into America. Forget Canada, Africa, Asia, Europe, and all the things of that nature, which makes no sense. So all these countries that he named in Isaiah 11 and 11, you can actually see them, and they run all the way from Africa all the way to the end coast of Northeast Africa. We'll have a map up where you will be able to see them in modern day terms and see where those lands at. Okay, but just to continue on it, to go further into it, we go to, pick me up Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter. Zephaniah 3 and 10. Y'all get a chance.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughters of my dispersed, shall bring my offerings.
Now, that's something I want you to pay close attention to. When we read Isaiah, the 11th chapter, for the most part, that 11 through 12 is dealing with, because, the Assyrians came in and took the 9 tribes out. So they was already out the land. When we get to Zephaniah 3 and 10, it's talking about over the rivers of Ethiopia. What's over the rivers of Ethiopia? Right on the other side of it is the west coast of Africa, which is where, most of a large majority of the Israelites went. So here's the issue y'all gonna have. Even though you don't deal with the Apocrypha, they hold it dearly. So the first place they gonna run to, say you walking by minding your business, you're gonna look down and see that chart. They're going to say, hey, brother, did you know this? They're going to pull this out. Go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 13.
All right. Reading from the book of the Apocrypha.
Yeah, the Apocrypha. 2nd Esdras,
chapter 13.
40 through 45.
Verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathens, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of rivers. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over.
Okay, I want you to pay close attention to key things in this, because they're going to use it. So just be ready when they use it, right? And we're going to debunk it with the 66. First of all, it says that these people went over here to this land. This land is what they call Azra. They're going to tell you that this is America. Well, you got a lot of problems with that, because either this is wrong, which more than likely it is, or their doctrine is wrong, which more than likely is both. Now, see, one thing it said in here, it said that they made a pact, and they said they're going to keep the laws in a land that is not theirs. So they're going to tell you, see, the Latinos came over here before the slave boats, therefore the Native Americans and all of that are Israelites. We're going to see if it's a problem with that. Go to Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, and let's see concerning like Judah and things of those natures. Because when you look at that chart, it says North American Negro, and it says it's Judah. But let's see what the book say.
I said I would scatter them into corners. I will make them remembrance of them to cease from among the men.
Now, we don't know who we are. We just finding this stuff out. You see what I'm saying? And it said that they would be scattered in corners. The memory of them would be forgotten. Go to Luke, the 21st chapter, and pick it up at verse 24.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Okay, Houston, we have a problem. Because what we do know right now, we already dealt with the 9 tribes was taken out, which it called it 10 in 2nd Esdras. But all you got to do is go to Hosea and see that Levi left back and forth and winded up back with Judah. So that's another problem. So in Luke, the 21st chapter, at this time during the New Testament, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was still intact. Mm-hmm. Only the 9 tribes from, as they call the northern kingdom, was scattered already. And he told us that Judah would be scattered to the 4 corners. How do you get to 4 corners? You need boats. You can't walk all the way over here to America and all those type of spots. So it's just a lot of problems with this. So we're going to examine this one more time. Go back, and I want you to focus on this one verse. 2 Esdras 13 and 42, Torrance. Go right back to it. Pay close attention, y'all.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Now, we got a problem with that. They'll tell you the Native Americans, like the Mayans, the Incas, and the Aztecs, was Israelites.
Right.
But in this book, it say they went there so they could keep the laws that they didn't keep in the land. If you go look up right now in Google, the Mayans and the Aztecs, it's common practice that they tattooed their faces, for one. They put plates in their lip, like Hamites, and in their ears, for two. That's a direct violation of this. Go to Leviticus 19 and 28.
You shall not make any cutting in your flesh for the dead.
What? Keep going.
Nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord.
So either they didn't keep that pact, or they straight out lying, and those people that's over there are not Israelites in the first place.
Yes, sir.
Also, another key to focus on is that they would go to a place called Asher where no man dwelled there. Well, if these people got tattoos on their face, that means they're not Israelites, because they wasn't used to the custom. So now you got two different groups of people here. I thought there wasn't nobody there when you got there. It's all messed up, bro. It's the spirit of confusion. If you want to find somewhere where people was at that kept the customs, you look at the Ibu tribe, the Shanti tribe, the Lemba tribe, the Falashas of Ethiopia, all these people, and guess where they at? They're in West Africa. They keep 8th-day circumcision. They know about the Sabbath. They even keep dietary laws, and their women go somewhere during their menstrual system. So it sounds like they're looking in the wrong spot. So go back to Isaiah, the 11th chapter, and pick it up at verse 13.
The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
Now, go ahead.
But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistine towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hands upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them.
Pay close attention. So if you want to know where Judah at, meaning Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which is the kingdom of Judah, and you want to know for the majority, because we're all over the world, Ephraim is, Isaiah 11 explained it, and it takes you all through that coast of Africa. And then when you talk about Judah, Judah was sent on boats. So it says that they would vex each other, and they would have bad feelings towards each other. When I go on Facebook and I look, and I'm talking to Ebus from Africa, the first thing they bring up is, why do y'all have a chart and we not on there? That's vexing them. That's Judah and Ephraim having a beef over whether you are African or American and all that type of stuff. Not no Panamanian getting into it with a Mexican. So watch this. We're going to end it with this and keep it real smooth. Also, at the end, I want y'all to focus on, it said that they're going to put hands on Edom and Ammon on that journey. Where's Edom and Ammon at in America? The capital of Ammon is the capital of Georgia, which is right over there by the land of Israel. That is called Ammon. But that's another story. Go to Acts, the 2nd chapter. We can end it with this. Pick it up at verse 1, beloved.
And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven and as a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like a fire, and it set upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost, and began to speak up with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men of every nation under heaven. Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in their own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? Parthians, Medes, Elamites, and the dwellers of Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus and Asia, Pergamum and Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in all the parts of Libya and Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes, Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongue the wonderful works of God.
Now, when you heard him name all those places, question to the 12 chart believers, why didn't he name Ashereth or America? If these Jews and Israelites were scattered all over the place, you mean to tell me he forgot the ones that came over there?
Right.
It's a bunch of folly. If y'all want to know where the real 12 tribes accurate chart at, it's in heaven with the book of life and all that other type of stuff. He'll reveal that when we go get our inheritance. With that, I say shalom, grace, and peace.
So, hey, we're going to keep it moving. Who next?
Kind of sort of a 2-in-1.
is regeneration and resurrection?
Okay, resurrection and regeneration. Regeneration means to be regenerated. That means if you are dead, you are regenerated. You must be born in order to be regenerated. You don't, and we're going to let the Bible show you what regeneration is a little bit more clarity. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15, and pick it up at verse 12. 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 12. You get that, brother? Go ahead and read.
Now, if Christ be preached that he rose from the dead, how say some among you that there is no resurrection of the dead?
Now, if Christ be preached that he rose from the dead, how y'all say it ain't no resurrection of the dead? Then why are we dealing with the Bible? We dealing with dead folks. If he ain't rise, he must still be dead. Why you even dealing with him?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
But if there be no resurrection of the dead, then is Christ not risen? And if Christ be not risen, then is our preaching vain, and your faith is also vain? Yeah, and we are found false witnesses.
And your preaching. So if there's no resurrection of the dead, Christ is not risen. If Christ be not risen, is our preaching in vain, and your faith is in vain. If Christ is not risen, we shouldn't even be up here even addressing this issue. But we're going to show you this. We're going to go elaborate. Skip down to verse 17 and go ahead and read.
And if Christ be not raised, your faith is vain.
Christ ain't raised, your faith is vain. You're just doing it for nothing. You're here listening about this Bible, open up this Bible, reading, or being religious in any manner for vanity. Go ahead and read.
Ye are yet in your sin.
And you still in your sin, so you're going to die. Okay? Right?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Skip down to verse 35. Go ahead and read.
But some man will say, how are the dead raised up?
Okay, if the dead raised up, how are they raised up? Go ahead and read.
And with what body do they come?
What body do they come? Skip down to verse 40. Let's see what body and how they raised up. Go ahead and read.
There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
You got heavenly bodies, that's celestial bodies, and you got earthly bodies, which are terrestrial bodies. Skip down to verse 42. Go ahead and read. It's telling you types of bodies. Go ahead, 42.
So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is shown in corruption. It is raised in
the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It decays. It is raised in incorruption. It is raised, come back in together, regenerated. Read.
It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory.
It's sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It ain't going into something new. It's raising something that was old and decrepit.
Right.
But it's bringing it back new. Go ahead and read. Regenerated. Read.
It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power.
Yes, sir.
It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body.
It was a natural body. Now you got a spiritual body. You went from natural to spirit. That's the regeneration.
Yep.
You regenerated you a natural to a spirit body.
That's that.
You see what I'm saying? All the way to 45. Go ahead.
There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body.
Go ahead. Pick it up.
And it is so written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
Yes, sir. The last quickened a soul to spirit.
Right.
We got a soul. And we regenerated to a spirit. Skip down to verse 49 and in that.
And as we have borne the image of the earthly.
We born the image of the earthly. I was born with an earthly body. Go ahead.
We also bear the image of the heavenly.
You're going to bear or be regenerated to a heavenly body.
Yes, sir, brother.
Acts 7. And pick it up. Acts 7 and verse 31. Acts 7 and 31. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
Acts 7 and 31.
Yes, sir.
When Moses saw it, he wondered at the sight. And as he drew near to behold it, the voice of the Lord came unto him.
Acts 7 and 37. I'm sorry. Skip down to verse 37. Straight to the point. Acts 7 and 37. Go ahead.
This is that Moses which said unto the children of Israel, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren like unto me, him shall ye fear.
I'm sorry. God forbid. We was rushing too fast. Matthew's 19. Matthew 19. I messed you up, brother. We rushing so fast. Brother, I'm trying to just get y'all questions because I want to answer everybody's question. Matthew's 19 and 28. Matthew 19.
And Jesus said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
Now, how is it the disciples, because this he was telling the disciples, how the disciples going to come back? They dead.
Yes, sir.
They going to come back with different bodies?
Nope, that's the rest.
Yeah, they're going to come back with spiritual bodies.
That's right.
Heavenly bodies.
That's right.
Regenerated from flesh and blood, deteriorated bodies, to powerful, incorruptible bodies.
That's right.
Regeneration. Resurrected. Let's go ahead. One last page. Say Matthew 17 and pick it up verse 1. Say Matthew 17 and verse 1. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
And after 6 days, Jesus taking Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringing them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun.
See? And Jesus, when he transfigured himself, he still looked like Jesus. Mm-hmm. He just had a different look, a different body. Go ahead and read.
And his raiment was white as the light.
He had white raiment. Go ahead.
And behold, there,
speak it up, spit it up.
There appeared unto him Moses and Elias talking with him.
Moses and Elias was talking with him. Go ahead.
Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee and one for Moses.
How did they recognize Moses and Elijah? Moses and Elijah was way dead, way before the disciples came on the scene.
Yes, sir.
But they still looked the same. Whatever body you was born with, that's the body you're going to have forever. Mm-hmm. You're going to still look the same. You're just going to have a better body. But you still going to look the same. Did you finish that? All the way to now. Hurry up.
While he yet spoke, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them.
Now that was the end of that. I just wanted to show you that you regenerated with the same body. You ain't going to look no different. You ain't going to take on no another body. Mm-hmm. You're going to take on another body as far as from flesh to spirit.
Absolutely.
Does that answer your question? So, any other question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Who are the original Christians?
Who are the original Christians? Go ahead.
Are they Roman Catholics or are they Israelites?
Who are the original Christians? Are they Roman Catholics or Israelites? Let's let the book. Let's go to Acts 26. Acts 26. Are they Romans? Are they Israelites? Are the original Christians Romans or Israelites? Did Christianity come from Rome or Israel? That's what you really want to know, right? Let's let the Bible speak. Acts 26 and pick it up at verse 1. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
Then Agrippa said unto Paul.
Agrippa was not an Israelite. Just wanted to let you know he was a Roman. Go ahead and read.
Thou art permitted to speak for thyself.
Now he had who? Who he said you were permitted to speak? Paul. Paul was an Israelite. Go ahead and read.
Then Paul stretched forth his hand and answered for himself. I think myself happy, King Agrippa.
He's telling Agrippa, man, I think myself happy. Go ahead and read. Go ahead. I want you to read fast on this.
Because I shall answer for myself this day before thee, touching all the things whereof I am accused of the Jews.
Yeah, because the Jews trying to accuse Paul and trying to put him to death. Go ahead and read.
Especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions.
And he had that little flavor. Hey, Agrippa, man, I know you're an expert in this, man. So I know you're going to take care of it for me. But Agrippa was not an Israelite. Go ahead and read.
Which are among the Jews. Wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently. My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among mine own nation at Jerusalem, know all the Jews.
So he's from Jerusalem. Paul from Jerusalem. He's from the Israelite. He breaking them down where he's from. He telling this to Agrippa, which was the Roman. Go ahead and read.
Which knew me from the beginning, if they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion, I live a Pharisee. And he was a Pharisee. So you know, a Pharisee was none but Israelites, right? All the way to the 7. Go ahead. And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of God unto our fathers.
Right.
Unto which promise are 12 tribes instantly serving God day and night, hope to come. For which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews.
He accused of the Jews. You finished all the way to 7?
Yes, sir.
Skip down to 26. Now, Agrippa, he was getting in tune with what Paul was telling him. You hear me? This is Paul talking to Agrippa. Let's see what Agrippa said to Paul. 26.
For the king,
pay attention.
For the king knoweth of these things, before whom also I speak freely, for I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him, from this thing was not done in a corner.
See this thing that they trying to do to me, King Agrippa, this one hid in the corner, you know all about this stuff. Go ahead and read.
King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets?
King Agrippa, you believe the prophets? This is what Paul is asking. King Agrippa, you believe the prophets? Read.
I know that thou believest.
I know you believe. Why? Read.
Then King Agrippa said unto Paul.
And King Agrippa said what to Paul? This Roman, which was not an Israelite, said to Paul what?
Almost thou persuaded me to be a Christian.
Paul, you almost persuaded me to be a Christian. Now, if Agrippa was a Christian, he wouldn't have said he would have said, hey man, we one and the same. But Agrippa was a Roman, he was not a Christian.
Yes, sir.
He said, but Paul almost persuaded him to be a Christian.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what you're reading?
Yes, sir.
Did you finish that?
Absolutely.
The 28.
That was 28.
So this is Paul, which was an Israelite, trying to persuade King Agrippa to be what?
A Christian.
A Christian. Skip down Acts 7. Acts 7 and pick it up at verse 37. Acts 7 and 37. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
This is that Moses which said unto the children of Israel.
This is the Moses that said to the children of Israel. Go ahead.
A prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren like unto me.
Go ahead.
Him shall ye hear.
All the way to 38.
This is he that was in the church in the wilderness.
Now, Paul had to come from a church, but the church started in the wilderness. So I'm pointing this out. This church started in the wilderness. You finish all the way to 38?
With the angels which spake to him at the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the lively oracles.
Now, the
to
lively
give unto
oracles.
us.
The church in the wilderness was strictly Israel, because Israel came out of Egypt into the wilderness. So we knew we were dealing with Israelites, right? And Paul was professing this, right? So I'm showing you this church, because I'm about to make you another point. Did you finish 38?
Yes, sir.
Go to Acts 11. Acts 11. Go back to the Acts and pick it up at verse 11, at 22, and read.
Then tidings of these things came unto the ears of the church which was in Jerusalem.
Oh, now it was the church in Jerusalem, but the church started in the wilderness. Now it went from the wilderness to Jerusalem, right?
Yes,
with
sir.
the same customs and laws. Keep reading. I'm focused on that church.
And they sent forth Barnabas, that he should go as far as Antioch.
Go ahead.
Who, when he came and he had seen the grace of God, was glad, exhorted them all that with purpose of the heart they would cleave unto the
Now,
Lord.
Barnabas, we dealing with the disciples now, right?
Yes, sir.
We got the disciples here that come from the church, which was in Jerusalem, which that church started from the wilderness, right? Which that church from Jerusalem, Paul came out of, right?
Yes, sir.
What verse are you?
24.
Go ahead.
For he was a good man, and for the Holy Ghost and of faith.
Go ahead.
And much people was added unto the Lord.
Much people were added to the Lord. Go ahead.
Then departed Barnabas to Tarshish for to seek Saul.
Now, Barnabas, he went to Tarshish to seek Saul, who is Paul. So Barnabas and Paul, they hung out together. They were from the church in Jerusalem. That church started from the wilderness. Go ahead and read.
When he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch.
He brought him to Antioch. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that a whole year the assembly they assembled and it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church.
They assembled themselves with the church. This is the whole church in Jerusalem. They assembled themselves. They're all together. Read.
And they taught much people.
And they taught much people, just like Paul tried to teach Agrippa and convert him to what? A Christian. Read.
And the disciples called.
And who?
And the disciples.
The disciples was what?
Were called Christians.
Was
first
called Christians as well.
in Antioch.
They started that thing in Antioch first.
Yes, sir.
So are we original Christians? Yes.
Sir.
And all the disciples are what?
Yes,
Israelites. So did it start with Rome? No. It started with Israelites. Don't steal our word Christian and give it to somebody else. That's Israel's word. Christ-like. Let's keep on moving. Who next? Who next? I'm running out of note paper. I like that script y'all wrote down.
That was cold-blooded.
My question is, do we need to be circumcised?
Do we need to be circumcised?
For all nationality of men?
So do we need to be circumcised in all nationality of men? Do they got to get snipped? Let's see what the Bible say. Let's go to Genesis 17 and 10. The ordinance of the circumcision. Genesis 17 and verse 10. Genesis 17 and pick it up at verse 10. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read. Genesis 17 and verse 10. Go ahead and read.
This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee.
Now this is a covenant you shall keep between me and thee and thy seed. So anytime you got a child, you got to keep this covenant. Because a seed comes forth from a man. Go ahead and read.
Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
Is every absolute?
Absolute.
So did it say the nationality?
Nope.
It said any man child must what?
Among
you. Got to be circumcised. Go ahead and read.
And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Every man child in your generation, he that is born in the house or bought with money, or any stranger which is not of thy seed.
He that is bought with money, born in the house, or any stranger, any nationality, must be circumcised. All the way to 14, go ahead and read.
He that is born in thy house and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised. Yes, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant.
See, this is an everlasting covenant. This covenant don't never cease. It's everlasting, and it must be in your flesh. This is when you can cut into your flesh and take their foreskin off for an 8-day-old child. And I'm going to show you, not just 8 days, if you find out the truth and you're not circumcised, however old you are, you're supposed to get circumcised because it's an everlasting covenant and it must be in your flesh. Go ahead and read.
And the uncircumcised man-child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people.
If you're not circumcised, you're not going to take part in this. You may get destroyed, cut off.
He have broken my covenant.
Because you break the first covenant that he made with Abraham. St. Luke 1.
Let's get it.
St. Luke 1 and Peter verse 13. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zechariah, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John.
Now, John. Now, the angel came to Elizabeth, right? Oh, no, Zacharias, and told him what the name is, son. Zacharias, right? Mm-hmm. John. This is John. This Jesus' cousin. This John. John's name also came from heaven, and guess what? It's a J name, John. Skip down to verse 30.
And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God.
Now, Mary she also got pregnant during the time of Elizabeth, her cousin. Go ahead and read.
And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus.
The angel went back and told Mary, hey, you're going to have a son. You're going to call his name Jesus. Now, we got Jesus that came from heaven, another J name, Jesus, and we had John, his cousin, another J name, John. Mm-hmm. Okay. Was that 31? Mm-hmm. Skip down to verse 57.
Now, Elizabeth full time came that she should be delivered.
Now, Elizabeth was time to be delivered of a child. Go ahead.
And she brought forth a son.
She brought forth a son.
And her neighbor and her cousins heard how the Lord had showed great mercy upon her.
Yes, sir.
And they rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day, they came to circumcise the child.
John got circumcised. John was an Israelite. He got circumcised. What's wrong with that? Mm-hmm. Did you finish that?
And they called his name Zechariah after the name of his father.
They called him Zechariah? Let's see what they call him Zechariah. Read.
And they called him Zechariah after the name of his father.
Read.
And his mother answered and said, Not so, but he should be called John.
You name him what the angel told him to name him, John. Right. So don't mess with them J names. Read.
Yes, sir. And they said unto her, There is none of thy kindred that is called by this name. And they made signs to his father how he would have him called, and he asked for.
So that's good. That's good. I just didn't want you to fool with them J names. This J is
yes,
J.
Sir. Yes,
John.
Sir.
Skip down to St. Luke 2 and pick it up at verse 21. Just one. Because now John got back. I mean, he got circumcised the 8th day. John the Baptist got circumcised the 8th day. Luke 2 and 21. Let's see what Mary and her child. What did they do with Jesus? That came from Mary. Luke 2 through 21. Because Jesus came through Mary. So let's see what happened to Jesus. Luke 2 and 21. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
And when 8 days were accomplished.
When 8 days were accomplished, what happened?
For the circumcising of the child, his name was called Jesus.
So Jesus was circumcised the 8th day. So you're going to mean to tell me you got a problem with getting snipped? Uh-oh. Jesus and John in the New Testament got circumcised. If you're a Christian and trying to be Christ-like, you must be circumcised.
Absolutely.
John 7, and pick up at verse 23. John 7 and 23. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
If a man on the Sabbath day receives circumcision, that the law of Moses should not be broken.
Now, this is brief. This is Jesus talking. Hey, the man on the Sabbath day, hey, if they got to circumcise him on the Sabbath day, you can't break the law. You got to circumcise him. Finish that to 23.
And ye are angry at me because I have made a man whole, every withhold on the Sabbath day?
Now, did Jesus condemn circumcision? No. He say if the child got to be circumcised, you got to circumcise him even if it's on the Sabbath day. Mm-hmm. You follow me? If they fall on the Sabbath, cut them up. Yep. Mm-hmm. Circumcise them.
Yes, sir.
Did Jesus kick against circumcision?
Nope.
No. I just wanted to show that point. Let's keep it moving. Philippians 3 and 5. Philippians 3 and 5, go ahead and read.
Circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of the Hebrews.
This is a Hebrew of the Hebrews. You going to try to tell me I don't have to be circumcised? I'm circumcised the 8th day. I'm a Hebrew of the Hebrews. I'm the top Hebrew dog.
As touching the law of Pharisees.
And I'm a Pharisee. I keep that law. Did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
Who is that reading? Who is that saying that? That's Paul. Paul, man, that Paul bad boy. Mm-hmm. Y'all don't play with him. Galatians 2 and 3. When you get there, go ahead. Because they said, do strangers got to be circumcised? Titus, Galatians 2 and 3.
But neither
Philippians.
Galatians 2 and 3.
Did I say Galatians?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
But neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek,
Titus was a what?
A Greek.
Being with who?
But neither Titus, who was with me being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised.
Hey, Paul had to circumcise this dude. Titus was a Greek, but he compelled him and they circumcised him.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to roll with Jesus, you got to get circumcised. A couple of more places we done. Acts 16:3. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
Him will Paul have to go forth with him, and took and circumcised him because of the Jews which were in those quarters. For they knew all that the fathers was a Greek.
They knew that this father of Timothy, he was a Greek. His father was a Greek. But they still circumcised him because Gentiles got to be circumcised too.
Yes, sir.
Exodus 12:48.
And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover of the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
Hey, if you got to take the Passover, which you must do, all the males, whether they're strange or not, got to be circumcised. One last place, Ezekiel 44 and verse 9. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord God, no stranger uncircumcised in heart nor uncircumcised in flesh shall enter into my sanctuary of any stranger that is among the children of Israel.
Y'all read one law for all.
Exodus 12th chapter, verse 49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among
That's
you.
what I wanted to hear. One law for everybody. Circumcise your sons. Does that answer your question? Any other question?
Yes, I have a question. Can we have multiple wives?
Can you have multiple wives? Can a man have more than one wife? Let's go see what the book say. Deuteronomy 17:17.
Neither shall he multiply wives to himself.
Oh, man, or a king ain't supposed to multiply what to himself?
Neither shall he multiply wives to himself.
Anything more than one is multiplication. You can't get down that way. All the way finish the 17.
That his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
Now, I don't care if you read about King David or King Solomon had more than one wives. Hey, the Lord say he show mercy on who he going to show mercy on. You got to keep the laws of the land and one wife. And we're going to show you that. 1 Corinthians 7. 1 Corinthians 7, and pick it up at verse 1. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
Now concerning the things thereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
Hey, it's good for a man not to touch a woman, but if you got to touch a woman, go ahead and read.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every
Did it
woman
say
have
let
her
a
own
man
husband.
have his own wives or wife?
Wife.
That's singular, right? Wife. Let a man, one man, have his own wife. Finish it.
And let every woman have her own husband.
Did a woman have more than one husband? Her own husband. One. Read.
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
Did it say render to the wives?
To the wife.
To the wife. Do benevolence. Read.
And likewise also the wife unto the husband.
Read.
The wife have no power over her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power of his own
All the way
body,
to the
but
5.
wife.
All the way to the 5. Go
Defraud
ahead.
ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time.
Now, why, if you got more than one wife, if your wife is defrauding you, you can go to the other wife. Mm-hmm. Did it say that? It say don't defraud one another because lest you separating yourself because you're unclean or something like that. So if I can have more than one wife, then that should have said if your wife is not laying with you, you can go lay with the next wife. But it didn't say that. That's why I say don't defraud one another. Because it's only one and one. There's only two in this relationship, the man and his wife. Or the wife and her husband. Would you finish that 5, brother?
Except it be with content for a time.
Go to 1 Timothy 3 and 1. 1 Timothy 3 and 1, go ahead and read.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desires of good work.
Now, if you desire office of a bishop, now we have people out here calling themselves bishops. If you call yourself a bishop, and you got to watch, because there's people out here that are actually calling themselves bishops out here, around, especially in these churches. They want to exercise authority over people, and they want to call themselves bishop this or bishop that, and want to wear all these golds and things on their hand and think they big dogs. He said, if you want to call yourself a bishop, what you supposed to be?
A bishop then must be blameless.
Should nobody be blaming you on Facebook saying you did this or did that? You got people that call themselves bishops that are being exploited on Facebook because they did a lot of evil stuff to people. And they call themselves a bishop. We don't call ourselves bishop. Why? Because there's nobody that can promote us to bishop. I ain't seen it. We can be a deacon or a teacher or a pastor, but I ain't seen nowhere that anybody that's not a bishop should be a bishop. Because who can excel you to that? But that's just food for thought. Finish that.
The husband of one wife.
You're supposed to be a husband of one wife. You call yourself a bishop, you're supposed to have how many wives?
One wife.
One wife.
Vigilant, sober, of good behavior.
Was that 1, 2?
This is 2 right
You're
here.
supposed to have good behavior. Shouldn't nobody be having any accusations against you. Mr. Bishop, finish the 2.
Given to hospitality.
You're supposed to be hospitable to people, Mr. Bishop. So if somebody asks you a question in an email, in a text, you should be hospitable and answer them and answer their question, Mr. Bishop.
Apt to teach.
And you're supposed to be appointed to teach. That means if I ask you a question, teach me. Mm-hmm. And there's people out here that's calling themselves bishops, and they got colorful outfits on. I'm just throwing that out there, so beware, people. Now, skip down to verse 10.
And let these also first be proved. Then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless.
If you're an office of a deacon, you're supposed to be found blameless. Finish it up to the 10. Go ahead.
Even so, verse 12.
Verse 12. Skip down to verse 12. We're just getting direct.
Let the deacon be the husband of one wife.
The deacon, if you're a deacon. Now, we got deacons in these days. They can't be running around having more than one wife. One wife. Read.
Ruling their children and their own house as well.
And your house is supposed to be well. Skip down to verse Titus 1. That was the end of that, right?
Yes, sir.
That's just hitting the main points. So watch out for them people that call themselves bishops or deacons, and they fooling around. First of all, if people blame them for things, that's a red flag. Get away from them. Right. Everybody run.
Yes, sir.
Run. I don't care if they do have more than one wife. If people are blaming them for any accusations, run. Titus 1 and pick it up at verse 6. Go ahead and read.
If any be blameless, let the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot.
If any
or
be
unruly.
blameless, let them be a husband of what?
One wife.
One wife. We keep seeing one. Adam had one wife. Go ahead and read.
Having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly.
Was that the end of 6?
Yes.
Just one verse. Romans 13. Come on, we got to finish it. Romans 13 and pick it up at verse 1. Romans 13 and 1. We keep seeing one wife. I ain't seen 2 wives at all. Romans 13 and pick it up at verse 1.
Let every soul be subject unto the higher power.
You got to be subject to the higher powers. Over here, our higher powers is the United States and whatever that government is put forth. Read.
For there is no power but of God.
And God gave him that power. Read.
The powers that be are ordained of God.
But the powers that they have, the Lord ordained it to them. All the way to 3. Go ahead and read.
Whosoever therefore resists the power, resists the ordinance of God.
And you can't resist the power or the ordinance that the Lord put in their hands to put out here. Read. That's not against the laws of God. Let's put an addendum on that. So you got to do what they say as long as it's within the boundaries of keeping the laws of God. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to make you lose salvation over it. All the way to 3, right?
And they that, it's middle of 2.
Go ahead.
And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation.
If you resist and you make up your own law and you want to do it your way, you're going to get damnation. All the way to 3.
For rulers are not a terror to good works.
We ain't mad because we can't have, I ain't no terror to me to keep one wife. Mm-hmm. If this law says I can only have one wife. Go ahead.
But to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same.
Skip down to verse 5 and go ahead and read. I just wanted to show you that you got to keep the ordinance of whatever land you in. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore we must need be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience.
Go ahead.
For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing.
The law of this land only allows you how many wives? It says one wife. One wife. And you already know that the books say you ain't supposed to divorce except it be for fornication. Mm-hmm. So you ain't supposed to be getting divorced. Some people have been through that. Now, if that has fell on you, hey, you do right. You don't let them, if you get married again, you don't make that mistake again. You know, because situations do happen. All the way to 7.
Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom is due.
The custom over here is one wife. Keep the custom. You can't have multiple wives over here. Period. And we've been reading all through the book, one wife, one wife, one wife, one wife, one wife. Finish at 7.
Fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law.
And that's all about. You want to keep the law? Keep the law of the land.
Yes, sir.
Keep the Lord's law and the law of the land. The law of the land, you can't have more than one wife. Period. Or it's polygamy. Is that it? And you're adulterer, warmonger, whatever else the Lord say.
Right.
Who we at? Is that it?
That's the end of that.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, I have a question. You read in the scripture where the Lord said it's okay to circumcise on the Sabbath day. My question would be, what are the laws of the Sabbath day?
What's the laws of the Sabbath day? What can we do on the Sabbath day? A lot of people like to do a lot of foolishness on the Sabbath day. Let's see what the Sabbath is about. Let's go to Exodus. Exodus 35. Exodus 35, brother. Pick it up at verse 1. Exodus 35 and 1. Let's see about the laws of the Sabbath day. Go ahead and read.
And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord hath commanded that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done.
You got 6 days to do your work. Go ahead.
But on the 7th day there shall be to you an holy day.
Go ahead.
Sabbath of rest.
All the way to the 3rd. Go ahead.
Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation upon the Sabbath day.
On the 7th day, you're supposed to rest, holy convocation, no work, and you ain't supposed to do what? Don't kindle what?
You shall kindle no fire.
So ain't no cooking going on because ain't no kindling of the fire. No smoking because you got to fire the cigarette up. So that eliminates cooking and smoking. Now, I'm not telling you if you got to work on the Sabbath day because you got a job. You do what you got to do. The Sabbath was made for man and man for the Sabbath. But if you don't have to do it, you don't do it.
Yes, sir.
Was that the end of 3?
Yep.
Isaiah 58 and 13. Go ahead and read.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy own pleasure, on my holy day.
You got to turn. You ain't supposed to do your pleasures on the Lord's day. Pleasure means doing what you like to do. Mm-hmm. Was that the end of that 13?
And middle of 13. And call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thy own pleasures.
Don't do your own ways, what you usually do for Monday, for 6 days in a week, or your own pleasures. One thing about pleasure is also intimacy. Mm-hmm. That's also, we can't show you everything in one, but laying with your spouse is pleasures.
Yep, sir.
Because if you're not doing it for a baby, you're doing it for pleasurable reasons.
That's work.
That's your own pleasures.
Nor speak thy own words.
And keep your conversation spiritual. I know that can be hard, but you ain't supposed to be even having your own conversation about basketball, football, where you're going, what you're about to do. It's supposed to be about God.
It's about the Lord, right?
I'm just giving you what the Sabbath is about.
Yes, sir.
Is that the end of that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Leviticus 23 and pick it up at verse 1. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
What he speaking, saying?
Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord,
go ahead,
which ye shall proclaim to be a holy convocation, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation.
All the way to the 3.
And ye shall do no work therein.
No work?
It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwelling.
So we got no work, we got pleasure, we got speaking your own words, right? Mm-hmm. Last one, Nehemiah 10 and 31. Nehemiah 10 and 31. The Lord just wants you to shut down and relax.
Yes, sir.
Nehemiah 10 and 31. When you get that, brother, go ahead and read.
And if the people of the land bring well or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it on them, but we not buy it on them on the Sabbath day.
We should not buy it of them on the Sabbath day. If they bring anything for you to buy, that means what can you buy on the Sabbath day that is sold in your communities? Because all the stores ain't owned by no black folks. So all of the merchants are around you in your community selling to you. Even on the Sabbath day. Are you supposed to go back to them?
Nope.
No. Read that again.
And if the people of the land
People of the land, what land are we in? United States, right here in Illinois. Go ahead.
Bring well or an evict you on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day, and that we will leave the seventh year and the exaction of every debt.
So on the Sabbath or on any holy days that the Lord deemed, you ain't supposed to be buying and selling.
That's right.
Those are the laws of the Sabbath day. That is it?
I have a question. Is the Apocrypha legit to read?
Is the Apocrypha legit to read?
Yeah, legit to read.
Oh, man, the Apocrypha got a lot of holes in it. It's all over the place. It's full of foolishness. And you got these brothers running around thinking it's legit. They can't even get this Bible straight. And they want to tell you about this and that and the other. See, what we do is we go to other books to make excuses because we don't want to read what thus said the Lord. But we're going to see. Apocrypha, see, the Apocrypha got a lot of folly in it. You know what I'm saying? Go to 1 Esdras 1 and 19. Because 1 Esdras 1 and 19 is some foolishness that says. I'm going to give you a quick reference. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So the children of Israel, which were present, held the Passover at that time and the feast of sweet bread 7 days.
Now, they held wait, read that again.
So the children of Israel were present that time of the Passover. So the children of Israel, which were present, held the Passover at that time and the feast of sweet bread 7 days.
Now, after the Passover, what you doing holding something that tastes sweet in the bread for 7 days? I never read a feast of sweet bread in the scriptures.
Not the book.
Let's show you what the children of Israel kept after the Passover. Leviticus 23, 4 through 6. Because in Ezra, this is the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha we just read that after the Passover, you keep this feast of sweet bread. No, you want some sweet foolishness. Leviticus 23 and verse 4. Sweet like bed meat, that's where they get it from. Leviticus 23 and 4. Go ahead.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations,
Read.
which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Yep.
And the 14th day of the first month of even is the Lord Passover.
The Lord's what?
Passover.
Now this is on the 14th day. What do they keep after the Passover? Do it keep sweet bread? Let's see.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread.
The feast of what?
Of
unleavened bread. So how you gonna take sweet bread and then say you're supposed to have unleavened bread? Sugar. So anybody that read that, red flag, run, because it sounds sweet. It's gonna have you sweet. Go ahead, all the way to 6.
Until the Lord 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
So the Bible say keep the feast of unleavened bread. Did we read anything about this, the feast of sweet bread?
Not one time.
So that's one red flag in that Apocrypha foolishness. Let's go back to the Apocalypse. 2 Ezra 3 and 4. Because in 2 Ezra 3 and 4, it said Adam had a body with no soul. Go ahead and read that, man.
O Lord, who bears rule? Thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gave us a body unto Adam without soul.
Now, Adam had a body without a soul. That sounds like some foolishness. Let's go to Genesis 2, pick it up at verse 7. I'm showing you the folly that's in this Apocrypha foolishness. Apocalypse. Because it's going to kill you.
You want me to finish that?
Finish it? No, because he says Adam was born with a body without a soul. That's all I wanted to show you.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what the Bible say Adam was born with. Genesis 2 and 7. Genesis 2 and 7. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils.
Who was the first man that was created? Adam. From the dust of the ground, breathing his nostrils. Go ahead.
The breath of life. And man became a living soul.
Adam was made with a what? Adam was made with a what?
A soul. Dust of the ground and became a living soul.
A living soul. But we read in the Apocalypto,
He was made with no soul.
He was made with no soul. The Apocrypha said he was with no soul.
That's right.
But the Bible said he was made a living soul. So you living with a soul, but the Apocrypha say you made without a soul. Adam is the soul. So how you going to take the soul? If you take the soul away from him, he going to be, what's that? A dead soul, right? It's some foolishness. See, it's confusion, people.
That's what it is.
Let's go to another confused place. Let's go to Tobit. Two-bit. I'm going to say two-bit. T-O-B-I-T. Two-bit. Or I ain't going to say two-bit in the Apocrypha. Go to Tobit 6, 1 through the 4, 16 through the 17. Because in Tobit, it says,
and as they went on their journey, they came in the evening to the river Tigris, and they lodged there. And when the young man went down to wash himself, a fish leaped out of the river and would have devoured him. Then the angel said unto him, take the fish. And the young man laid hold on the fish and drew it to land. To whom the angel said, open the fish and take the heart and the liver and the gall.
You
said 1 through 4.
Go ahead.
This is 4. And to whom the angel said, open the fish and take the heart and the liver and the gall and put them up safely.
Skip down to verse
16.
Yeah.
And when thou shalt come into the marriage chamber, thou shalt take the ashes of perfume and shalt lay upon them some of the heart and the liver of the fish, and shall make a smoke with it. And the devil shall smell it and flee away and never come again anymore.
Now, this is the last place I'm going to show you. That sounds like some straight up nonsense. Smoke, so fish smoke is going to make the devil flee away. Fish smoke, right? That's what I wanted to show y'all. Fish smoke. Go to James 4 and 7. This is the last place. James 4 and 7. James, the 4th chapter, pick it up at verse 7. This is how you make Satan flee away. Go ahead. Smoke fish, huh? Smoke, fish smoke.
Fish gut smoke.
Fish gut smoke. James 4, pick it up at verse 7, man.
Submit yourself, therefore, to God, and resist the devil, and he will flee from
you. All you got to do is resist what?
The devil.
And he'll do what?
Flee from you.
So smoke fish, fish smoke. The book say, resist the devil and he'll flee from you. You ain't got to go and take the guts of the fish and smoke it. You ain't got to go through all that nonsense.
Submit, therefore.
No, that was it. That was it, brother.
So that means Satan don't come around the fish fries now.
So, right.
No, sir.
So I was just showing you people that was just some. We got more we going to revisit because there's a lot of foolishness in this Apocrypha that don't make no sense. So don't get angry, people, and all you Israelites out there. Just read your Bible. Right. Is that it?